You can steal their computers to bring a Zoom session up on that open computer if you like that. I don't know. What is it with this half of the room this semester? It's not just this class. Certain parts of the room. Okay, so I got my if statement, and I just would like to have like maybe a band of all one color, like a stripe. So I think I just want to make it, I don't know, a little ways down. So I'm going to say if my row is greater than 50 and my row is less than 150. I don't know how big of a band that'll give us, but we'll just kind of experiment here and try it. Now, if I am at that row, I'd like to find a color. So I'm going to go to the Google, and I'm going to search for X color codes. And of course, there's a million different websites we can go to find this stuff. Find one you like. Oh, I like this one. htmlcolorcodes.com. Now, if you notice, htmlcolorcodes.com, one of the many billions of websites you could use to find color codes, gives you kind of a palette down here, and then up at the top, it's got the different ways you could describe this color. And of course, we're interested in the RGB. So I'm going to go with this purple. That was actually kind of what I wanted. I don't know how my cursor ended up there, just like I wanted. So that color is 255. Do I need to? Oh, thank you. I would have gotten some weird color.
Sorry.
How about 142, 68, 173? And that should be red, green, and blue. So I shouldn't have to mess with worrying about what order they're in. So I'll go back to my if statement, and I'm going to say my new red should be 142. My new green should be 68, and my new blue should be 173. And since I put this if statement after our reverse video settings, everything should work and should fall through just fine, because first we'll set our pixel to the reverse video value. Then if it's within this row range, we'll change it to be the purple. And then we'll finally update our pixel with that new pixel information. So let's run it, see if we can get a nice band.
Oh, okay, that's a decent sized band.
It's pretty good sized.
Not loading.
And surprisingly, it's one of the colors that ends up on my picture a lot because of the reverse video, so it's doing it. So yeah, I could put some other if statements, like if I wanted some smaller stripes down in here of that purple, or I could do another color. So I could just keep putting if statements within that loop to change whatever I wanted. Now, if I wanted to randomly pick out some spots to just change to black, I could do that too really easily. I could do something where, let me close out of my pictures here. I'll leave my big giant purple band, and after that, I'm going to say if.
Could you do a modulus?
I could. What kind of modulus would you like to do? Do you want to do it on a row or a column?
Let's do a column.
So if our column mod, what? 1,000?
Ooh,
100?
fancy.
250? Let's try 250.
Well, it would have to depend on how big the person.
Yeah, how big is your picture? We better do like something like 50. So if col modulus 50 equals 0, we'll know that this is one of every 50th column.
That won't work, right? Because column is only used in the for statement. Are we still in that?
We're still in the
So
for
if you
statement.
use that,
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah, yeah, since we're inside our for loop, we can. Otherwise, we would be in trouble. So if our column is 50, I'm going to change, what can I do if I want to do black? Is it all zeros or all 255s? All zeros. And you might want to do a prettier color. I'm just going to do some black spots. They're going to be little teeny black spots because I'm just going to be doing that 1 pixel every once in a while. Okay, I'm going to run it now.
Oh, no, it's going to be jail.
What does it look like?
The jail cell.
Jail cell. Oh, it is. Look. It was not very random since we did columns. Now my bad dog bunny is in bars. That worked out really cool for doing a bar. Kind of like a drip, not exactly a drip effect, but pretty close.
It's a trash.
Exactly.
It was driving me neither.
So there's a sensor bar and a jail cell.
It's just fancy. Fancy, fancy. So how I think that I could do random. Let's see, I'm going to try one more thing. What if we say how about column modulus row equals 0? I'll make it red. Really red. So that I can see those. I don't know where that smattering is going to end up. We'll see if it ends up with being a pattern. Probably be a pattern. Oops. It said I was trying to divide by 0. So in my code, I'm going to have to do something like another if statement and say if row not equals 0, how about if row greater than 0? Then I'm going to indent to make that if statement within that one so that we don't divide by 0. Let's try it.
That is awesome.
80.
I still have you trying to picture of me.
Yeah, so I'm good. Yo, you don't have the animation. Animation is so good.
Yeah, in some of these GIFs, if we open them in Photoshop and deleted all the extra images and just had the one, it's weird. We're doing some weird stuff. Okay, here's my guy. He's getting some really interesting spots.
Oh, wow. That was really cool.
Isn't that cool?
If you have a whiter background, it's
That's what
really,
is
really
cool.
cool.
Shows up better.
Yeah.
Isn't it weird how it matters so much what image you chose as to how it gets impacted?
I couldn't use the code to make it move. What was the code we made to make it display faster? What part of this code made it do that?
What we did is, close this here. Come on, you silly thing. Right here where we're drawing our updated window, we had it in our inner loop and we moved it to our outer loop.
Saying that my indent doesn't match.
So check your tabbing.
Is that cool looking?
It is. How would we do it so it comes from the other way?
Probably if you took your width minus your row, you could get what was left of your row. So think about, you can do all sorts of different math things like that, and that's such a great way to handle it because you can kind of try it and see what it ends up with pattern-wise and all that cool stuff. And I've got some people to get set up here. Before we get too involved, let's take a look at the assignment.
With the new assignment, we can pick any picture.
Yeah, in your glitch and image assignment, you can pick any picture. Remember, I'm going to try to run it, so don't pick a great big giant one. Make it kind of smallish.
Yeah.
No, if it's been running for 20 minutes, I'm going to kill it. Okay.
You're like a foot long.
Only I know you would leave some of them on screen. All right, so you're going to do 3 recognizable mods to the picture. Don't just do these 3. That would be really boring. Come up with some on your own. What else could you do? What would you like to try? Would you like to try starting at the end of the picture and, you know, seeing if you can scratch up? We have basically the old image and the new image. So we could take pieces of the old image and just splat them onto other parts of the new image if we wanted to, specific sections. So we could do a lot of different things. Yes, sir.
Is that the first part of the C image, copy C image library? Is that what we did with that folder?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so we just,
Yeah.
Okay.
So good question. To work on this at home, you're going to need to send that whole folder home. So you should right click on it and choose send to, and then say compress. Let me bring it up. You've probably done it in other classes. Let me see.
You saved it to your OneDrive.
Yeah, if you've got it on your OneDrive, you can get to it at home.
It's not going right for me.
Okay, see, watch with me right now. We're talking about how to get it home, so make sure you're paying attention. Now, my glitch image folder is what I want to send home. If I don't have this on my OneDrive, a lot of you have it on your OneDrive, I'm going to right-click and say send to compressed zipped folder. Then you can send it to yourself as compressed, but email's going to argue, and you're just better off if it's on OneDrive. Okay, so let's get everybody fixed, but we're not going to really spend a lot of time on that in class today. So I want you to spend time with it, and I want you to really think about these math formulas and how they're impacting with these loops. Remember, I think this is really cool, and I think it's really cool to glitch an image, but the main thing about it is I think it is an awesome way for you guys to get a deeper understanding of your nested for loops and what's going on in those for loops, because how else can you visualize that outer for loop moving as your inner for loop is running, and you can see exactly what kind of impact you have. So you're going to work on that, but today you're not. We're going to look at the Raspberry Pis because I can't have you take them home. So
Are you sure?
I'm sure they're really picky about it. I keep asking. They're so picky. So let's take a look at this new assignment I just popped in on you.
Oh no.
Pi hardware IoT presentation. Woo. This is a group thing, and I put you with a person that you worked with last time. So we'll see if that works, but I might have to rearrange some groups. So we have some people that are gone. Now, what I want you to do is we're gonna have to pass all these out. So you're gonna have lots of time to be looking at other things. See if I can get to it.
Was it the quest thing? We're going around the campus?
Yeah, it's the quest. I don't know.
I was going to say, is it if it's the quest, then it's me or him, but if it's the looking at me.
No,
We went around the campus.
oh, that thing. Like the sheets that.
That was so long ago.
That was after.
Okay, here's what I'm gonna
What
give
was it?
each team. And right now I'm gonna show you how to hook it up. So you should stop looking at your monitor and start looking at me. So I'm gonna give you a Raspberry Pi. This is the Raspberry Pi. This one's gonna need an SD card, so I won't give you this one. Now, a Raspberry Pi is a $25 computer. It runs an Atom processor, like some telephones, some phones, some smartphones. So it's not a super heavy duty processor, but it can do a lot of work for you. So this is the Raspberry Pi itself, the computer part. It has this little case on it that was another $5. So it's just the circuit board that's $25. Now these were invented a few years ago with a huge push to try to get computers in the hands of every grade school child. You know, they kind of came out about the same time as Chromebooks. And so a lot of kids are getting Chromebooks at school, and the Raspberry Pis are not something that are being used as much. So that's fine, whatever. We've still got all sorts of low-priced computers that we can get into people's hands, which is nice. Now, the Raspberry Pi has some ports. On one side, you're going to see your network port, which we don't need to use, and a bunch of USB ports, which we do need to use. One of the USB ports is going to be for your keyboard and one for your mouse. Unfortunately, I don't have extras of those. So you're going to have to unhook the keyboard and mouse from the teeny tiny computer back here attached to your monitor. Now that means that Raspberry Pi is going to be pretty close to your computer because we don't have any play in these cables. And you don't need to rewire right now. You just need to move your stuff close enough so that it fits. Now, because we are so close and we can't really find a power port close enough to you, you're going to use this USB cable, kind of like a charger cable, to power your Raspberry Pi. So, somewhere, you're going to find the little port to plug in the USB cable that looks just like your phone charger. In the other end, you're going to plug into the little teeny tiny computer. But you have to use the right USB port on the computer. And I think I've got all of them switched so that you can. But stand up and look at your teeny tiny computer or the one behind you. And notice how there's two USB ports on the side. Up on the side. And do you see how the one closest to the computer has that weird icon with the SS's?
Yeah.
That one supplies power. Yeah, super speed, it supplies power. So if you plug this in to that USB port, that's like plugging it into an outlet. You're going to get your 5 volts of power that this Raspberry Pi needs to run. So don't plug it in until you're ready to turn it on, because it's going to start booting up right as soon as you plug it in. It doesn't have an on-off switch. It's just either plugged in or not. So you're going to hook up your cables and your power. Now, the other cable you're going to need is for video. I'm going to give you a video cable. It's going to be a little different than this one. This is just the first one I grabbed out. But it's going to be an HDMI cable. So you're going to find the HDMI port on the Raspberry Pi and plug it in. And then on your monitor, you're going to have to look up under the monitor. Right beside that power cord are some USB ports, one on each side. So you should be able to find a place to plug it in to your computer. All right, then you're going to be all ready with the Raspberry Pi. Now, the Raspberry Pis started out to be cheapo computers, and things have changed since then. What's happened? The Internet of Things. Right now, I love my Roomba. You know, I would have told you I don't need a vacuum to vacuum by itself. Yes, I do. I always did it. I just didn't know it, but it's awesome. You know, we even bought last year on Black Cyber Monday or whatever. We bought the one with the hard cores too. They're amazing. I don't need a computer in my refrigerator though. I still haven't figured that one out. But all of the Internet of Things devices like that have computers built in, a lot of them are using Raspberry Pis. Why? Because I can hide this circuitry somewhere really easily in that device, and then I can cable it in and set up my programming to do whatever I want this device to do. So we're going to do that a little bit. Each of you are going to have a breadboard. Your breadboard has a 40-pin cable that's already plugged in to the breadboard. It needs to be plugged in to these exposed pins on the Raspberry Pi. 40 pins. And pins are really easy to bend. So you want to kind of make sure that you've got it lined up pretty good before you do that. All right? Okay, so the Pi is going to be off when you connect this giant 40-pin cable shouldn't be connected while it's got power. Now the breadboard, what are we going to do with it? We're going to do some really amazing things. We're going to put an LED on it, can't see this, and we're going to make it blink. So this computer is all set up with the program and the Raspberry Pi right now so that you can use it and look at it as a sample to see how it's set up. So our Internet of Things is going to be pretty basic. Our Internet of Things is going to be blinking this LED light with a Python program. But you're going to know now that you can do it and what all kinds of capabilities there are. Now that one is going to be a sample, but this website has all of the information for you too on how to make it blink. So making an LED blink using the Raspberry Pi and Python. So if you can't get to that one as an example, or you would rather look at some other sort of information, here's the website that has all this, and it even gives you the math. Yuck. Yuck. So what you're going to have is basically an LED and a resistor connected to the breadboard. And then you're going to have a positive wire getting power and a negative wire that is not getting power going to the Raspberry Pi pins, which we'll be using that 40-pin cable for. So you should be able to see, hey, Alex, that's your flash drive. Good deal. Now, as you go through this site, they have this sudo command, apt-get. We're not going to be able to do that. And I've already done that on all of the Pis, so you can skip that. The firewall here at OTC will block us and we won't be able to get to that site, but it'll just hang and we can't even tell. Now, this router that's up here, you guys have probably noticed it with your phones since it's like protected and has access. But I don't know if they've got it all the way configured or not. That's what it's supposed to be for. It's for our Pis. So we're going to have to skip that. But that should be all. All of our code is like this, where we're saying GPIO is the name of the object that our breadboard is going to be working on. And so all we're doing is some code that we have to do that says you can find the IO on the board, and then we're going to tell it what pin to use. So here they say pin 8, which is one that's connected to that LED light. They're saying turn it on, sleep for a millisecond so we can tell it came on, and then go low, turn it off, and sleep for a second so we can tell that it actually blinked. Now, we might run into some trouble because remember, Internet of Things is brand new. It's like the wild, wild west of computing. All of the devices are pretty new. All of the code is kind of questionable. So if you run into some trouble, that's okay. You're going to keep trying to get past it and do what you can do, but sometimes you just have to report it and say, I had this problem. So here's what I want from you after you've experimented with all of these things. Experiment, experiment. With you and your partner to do a PowerPoint. It's going to be something that you just turn in to me. It's not going to be something that you present to each other. But your PowerPoint should have a title slide, a slide defining the Internet of Things, and what a Raspberry Pi is, and 2 to 4 slides explaining how you set it up and what happened, and a summary. So if you can tell, the important thing here is for you to get your hands on the Raspberry Pi and see what you can do with it. So if you decide that you're just going to do it really quick, turn something in and get out of here, you can do that, but you're going to miss out on the opportunity to kind of experiment with this thing and see what you can do. So I'm not going to grade it as though, oh, I expect you to have this amazing, amazing PowerPoint, because I want you to spend the majority of your time experimenting with it, trying to get that LED to blink, seeing if you can get a second LED to blink if you want to. So that's where I really want you to spend your time. The PowerPoint is just documentation that you did it. So it's not something that needs to be like a beauty thing. Questions? We're gonna have some. That's okay. Let's see who our partners are. I gotta double check, see who we need to rearrange.
Should we use Office Online in order to have like the ability to edit a presentation together over the?
Oh, that's a great idea. Did you guys hear what Rebecca was saying? If you use PowerPoint through office.com, you'll be able to update it at the same time. Kind of like if you were doing it on Google, so that's a great idea. Okay, who are, let's see. Jacob's not here for Rebecca. Nico, Jackie, and Denise. Oh, you're here? I was thinking that was the guy next to you. James, Joshua's not here.
We'll still load in since his partner's not here and he's already sitting here.
We can still load him.
Huh?
I don't think Daniel.
Daniel, he's back there. Jonathan. John.
We can have an extra partner.
Huh?
Okay, let's see who we got here.
I don't mind.
You know how to use it. You will.
Well, my dad does.
Hey,
Oh.
Maya.
Does your dad play with them?
Maya.
Our
If you need a partner, you can come join us. We don't mind.
house.
Okay, Van Dyke's out. Blake
Is that
Logan.
okay with, Riley?
Hang on, let me see what we got here.
Work for Pi Council.
He's like the CEO.
That's fine, I just wanna- Where is he at? There he is.
She's retired.
Okay, so this is going to create a new group set. So I might have to do something different with our assignment, so don't worry.
Highly doubt that you go with the weakest. Highly doubt they'll go with the weakest 0.
Basically, you put the bun feet.
Yeah, it made a copy.
Oh, you're just gonna move.
Yeah, so I can move people around. So we're going to move Alex to our absent one. Who else is absent? We got Ken and Alex.
Okay.
Where I just recoded it, so I took a bunch of the song. Yeah. Sixth grade.
Who's Blake?
I want to know where it's the main, the melody, where it is what I have it for.
Nico,
And I
Martin.
touched it.
Haven't touched it.
Josh.
Yeah.
Oh,
What was it?
Okay, now I can tell who's missing.
High school, the last time I touched it. Well, that's when I went. Maybe. Yeah.
Okay, I'll move Nico with James and Logan with you two. Okay, look at clone project groups and check your project group because I did move a few people around because of some being absent. So you might have to find your new partner, but I think I've got everybody. Isaac's back there. He is back there. Okay, yeah. All right, so I'm going to rearrange it to be this. So grab your partner and come get some hardware from me.
I feel like you're convincing yourself more than me. I was so if you're trying to like gas yourself up, go by all means, but I wasn't worried about it. Huh? I will, because you did last time.
Okay.
He's all okay with that.
I mean, I was ready, but I'm fine with not doing it.
But no, she's like, she like looked up and she's like, were you guys miserable? It's like, no, we thought it'd be funny. He told us it'd be funny to take a picture like that. He's like, well, you guys look miserable. Like, we're running around.
Do you have Discord on your phone?
No. Hold on, I'll go there. I got it on there. There we go.
No, I mean for the pictures. Ready to send them to the computer.
I can see right now.
I thought that.
Yeah, but I can use this one on the whatever. It is, yeah. Stop. I don't work. You gotta have faith.
Oh, we don't want to take a picture of that. That's
I mean, if we came down to it, I'm just saying, you know. Sure that.
That's all in your own.
No, not at all.
Well, I thought it was not bad at all.
Oh, yeah, the most expensive one is $55 for 4 with 4 gigabytes. We're in a group.
Yeah, we're in a group for just doing
Oh,
one.
because she has wish for an exam.
Look at all that. Maybe.
I think.
No.
So whatever your worst score grades on the class, she has like a program.
Oh my
God. The full worst grade. Okay. That's why I always like.
Grant.
Maybe. I don't
Don't forget
Whatever computer we have, the cooler or the one that we are gonna have.
And you might want to just take a picture of it real fast.
That we're gonna have to code it. No. You gotta put it.
Yeah. Oh,
So whichever monitor was taken.
Are we making a YouTube channel?
yes. Yeah. Unboxing already. 5 years late. Whiteboard.
Let's make me hungry.
Mine is like
Guys,
mine's
No, it's computer. It's whiteboard. Slap some butter on that. I think my brother like that on his biscuits. He's definitely a bread and honey kind of guy.
Okay, do not plug in the power. Plug in the power lines.
I'm trying to plug in. HDMI. There.
Make sure these are exactly we all have to use that.
Okay, and I'm guessing we don't do
Basically, you should have to.
Snip.
Turn the HDMI.
No, I know.
By the foot, that's what it looks like.
It does. This is the HDMI one, so it goes like under here somewhere.
Yeah, because there's nice. Okay, well, that was
That's a USB. That's a USB.
Oh, you're right. I was so
There's no power button.
Are you excited?
One would plug it in.
Okay, I switched it on. I plugged it
It's
in.
a.
Are you doing the t-shirt? No power strip.
Yeah.
No cupids in my.
Is the mouse?
Trumpet.
No, what line?
Oh, I'm just trying to get it to where
Some Monday.
and then
The mouse.
and I open mice because I hear mice and keyboard. And I hear
Yeah.
Oh, cool. We'll be seeing you next year.
yeah.
I'm guessing.
Same.
Okay, so I guess let's
It's not like really sad. No, it's really new last week. Just think there's classes before, so it'll be classes.
Oh my God, you're right.
You just gotta find it. Oh, we're putting all this here?
Oh, hold on.
Yeah, I was. You know what? What's
It is open.
I don't know if we have everything ready for those.
I know.
Ooh, wait, okay.
I swear I thought she said.
Unplug the,
I thought she said.
Yeah, we just
Plug
like
the
missing
HDMI
stuff.
No, that's the USB.
Hey guys, I don't know if we have everything we need for that.
it should be the HDMI.
We must be missing some stuff.
Hang on. Is the HDMI cord on the back of the monitor? Okay. That's exactly where I tried to put it, but it
Do we need to use
I don't know if we have enough, everything for it.
But
Why did you tell me?
Oh my God, about that HDMI cord. I was like, wait.
Yeah.
Where size 7, 8. Yeah, that's.
Oh wait.
He's trying to do like 4 size balls on his head.
This is from
Too bad I can't do like a forward accent. I'm using a video. Forward accent.
Oh. They're like
Training over.
remove
Here it is. Safety.
So,
Safety.
Oh, poor.
Oh, he found a book.
It does not. That's.
I don't think our
French.
monitors are working.
Is there a Frankfurt?
That'd be awesome.
This one.
the security, yes.
Hey, and it's in French. It's in French.
No.
He can read it.
I can read it.
He can read it either way.
I was trying to.
But I leave my phone.
I don't know how this.
10 fingers.
Okay, so we got color coded.
The passive?
Red, red. Red, red.
Yeah.
And ground is always.
We have to open up the case.
I think you would.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's only a safety guide. So long as we're just can't get the board, which I sure this is doing. But I don't know which side is the board.
It's only a safety guide. It's not an instruction, you know. It's only safety. So it doesn't have the instruction.
You have to look at that website.
Yeah.
Darn it, I was so proud of you for finding the documentation.
No.
This one has the red one. This one has the blue one.